So before we can jump into our Google AdGrin account and start getting traffic, we first have to set up conversions. Now, conversion tracking is honestly the most technical and confusing aspect of Google Ad Grant Management. So make sure you set aside some time to go through these modules slowly and step by step because we're going to build out conversions together. Now, before we even start that process, we need to make sure we understand what is a conversion. So simply put, a conversion is any meaningful action on your website that moves your mission forward. A conversion can take many different forms, but it should be specific and again, meaningful for your nonprofit. So let's take a look at an example of this. We're taking a look at Cat Care Society out here in Colorado. This is a cat shelter, and when we see their website, we immediately can identify a conversion that's going to be applicable to almost every nonprofit, and that's donate. So we've got a donate button right here. We would want to track that donate button click and actions they take after that as a conversion. If we continue to scroll down, we'll be able to find some other conversions here. Sorry, I got distracted. There's a cat wearing sunglasses here. But besides that, we also see an adoption application. That's another button click that we would absolutely want to track and then see what people do after they click that button. If we keep scrolling down, we see sponsor and adoption. Here's another, this button specifically, another conversion that we would want to track. And hopefully that makes sense. So these are all specific conversion actions to Cat Care Society's website, and they're all meaningful and that they move the mission forward. It's not something like, oh, they were on page for 10 seconds or 20 seconds. It's they're taking meaningful, valuable actions on the website. So we can see why these conversions would be useful, but conversion tracking is more than just handy and good to know. It's absolutely critical. And that's because it answers this core question, is this working? Now, that also can take several forms. For example, we're taking a look at a search term report here. This is something we're going to become very familiar with over the rest of this course. But for now, just know that this is telling us what someone searched before they clicked an ad. In this case, Cat Care Society, but the one we're more interested in is Rocky Mountain Feline Rescue. This is another cat shelter in Colorado. Now, the question is, should we show up for this keyword? Should we show up for this competitor keyword? Or more generally, should we show up for this keyword? And we can see there's a conversion event of adoption button click. So that tells us somebody searched for this, but then did this. So to me, that answers the question, yes, this is working, and we can continue to show up for that keyword. Let's look at another example here. This one using geo-targeting, okay? So again, this is another report that we'll become very familiar with, but in this case, we're answering the question, how far out will people travel to adopt a cat that they find online? We've got our targeted locations here, and all you need to know is that these are targeting 10 miles, 20 miles, 100 miles, and 50 miles away from Cat Care Society's location. When we take a look at the 100-mile radius, we see conversions. We see 6 conversions right here. Let me make sure I'm out of the way. We see 6 conversions right here. So that tells us that people are willing to travel. And yes, the conversion rate is going to be lower, but people are willing to travel. Now, without conversion tracking, we just don't know. We're just sending traffic, hoping it works, and we're not able to use data to make better decisions. So that's why conversion tracking is absolutely critical. And it goes even further. Conversion tracking is also essential for Google's smart bidding algorithms. We want to leverage Google's algorithms, and without conversion tracking, we can't tell Google what our goals are, what's valuable to us. So conversion tracking has multiple layers in order to understand what's working and to tell that to Google so they can find more of the people that we're looking for. So it should be pretty clear that conversions are not optional. And as I've already mentioned, they can definitely get confusing. Part of the problem comes down to even just the naming convention. So these are actions by many names, but they are all conversions. First off, we have something called events in Google Analytics 4. There are lots of different types of events. The examples they're giving here are newsletter signups, video plays, and so on. These events are really conversions. They're valuable actions that users take on your website. Now, Google Analytics 4 has recently added another layer called key events. These are specific events that are considered more valuable. Also could be considered conversions. In this case, an event that is specifically valuable to success is considered a key event. So we'll be working with events and key events And we'll also be working with conversions, but these are really all of the same thing. So a key event in Google Analytics 4 is a conversion in Google Ads. And this is the root of some of the confusion, right? Just if the terminology isn't making sense, I just want to introduce it to you now. It's going to really click as we go through and build out all of these conversions and connect all of our accounts. But just to show you here too, this is Google Ads. Under goals, we have conversions. So they're called conversions within Google Ads as well. So again, just get familiar with this terminology.